Hi, this is Andrea Walford, founder of Sunny Stampin' Incorporated and the Paper Crafters Library. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create this fun pocket card. It has an insert which you can pull out and you can place a gift card, or if you'd like, instead you can simply write a message to the recipient. So I have a piece of early espresso cardstock that's 5.5 by 7 3/4 of an inch. And using my scoreboard, I've scored it at 4 1/4 of an inch and then at 6 3/4 of an inch. Now using my bone folder, I'm going to crease along the folds. So at the 4 1/4 inch line, you can see here I folded it inwards. So I'm now going to open this up, flip it, and then this little 1 inch wide flap, which I scored at the 6 3/4 inch mark, I'm going to fold in the opposite direction. So you can see this is what my piece looks like. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to take my scallop trim border punch from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to punch along the edge. So now that I've scalloped my edge, I'm taking a piece of pattern paper from Stampin' Up's Playdate Designer Paper Collection, and I'm putting some of my double-sided adhesive at the back. Now this piece is 3 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and the reason it's shorter than the length of the card is simply because it's an extra scrap that I have and I didn't want to waste it. So if you wanted to, you could cut a piece that came all the way down, but it's going to be hidden, so it's not necessary. So there's what that looks like. I'm now going to fold this upwards and I'm going to decorate this portion of the flap. So I'm going to start by taking a piece of real red cardstock, and this piece is 2 3/8 by 5 1/4. And it's cut so that the edge, the top edge, is going to align with that score line, and then there's going to be an even border at the bottom and at the sides. The designer paper that I'm using is also from the Stampin' Up! Playdate collection, and this one is 2 1/4 by 5 1/8. So I'm centering it and sticking it to this red piece so that there's an even border at the left and right sides and at the bottom. I'm now going to take my sticky strip and I'm going to stick it as close to the edge as I possibly can in this center 2 1/2 inch wide flap. Then I'm going to remove the backing from both sides and stick this piece down. So you can see I've now created my pocket piece. I'm taking some of my real red satin ribbon from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to cut a piece that's about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch longer on both sides. I'm then going to place a little bit of my double-sided adhesive in the center and a little bit on either side. And then I'm going to take my ribbon piece and I want to lay it across the center of this little flap. And I want to try to make sure that there's an even amount of the espresso cardstock showing above and below, and then an even amount on the left and right sides, because then what I'm going to do is fold the ends of the ribbon around to the inside of the piece. So you can see here the ends of the ribbon are hidden. So this is what my piece now looks like. So now I'm going to take my sticky strip again and I'm going to run a strip all across from one end of this narrow flap to the other end. And I've placed the sticky strip on top of the ribbon ends as well to make sure those stay in place. And then I'm going to take this flap and fold it downwards. So this is what the piece now looks like. Now I've tied a bow using a 14-inch piece of ribbon and also using my Bow Easy to tie the bow. So I'm going to stick that onto this piece. But before I do that, I just want to gather the ribbon that's in the area underneath where the center of the bow is going to rest. So I'm just cutting a piece of linen thread, and I want to gather the ribbon around in this area. So I'm just going to slide my linen thread underneath, and I'm going to tie it in a knot to gather that ribbon in place. And then using my scissors, I'm going to cut the ends very close to the knot. So it now looks like so. To stick on my bow, I'm going to take a couple of my mini glue dots. And then you'll see the mini glue dots just stick directly over that linen thread piece and they hide it. And then it looks like the bow was tied directly around this ribbon piece. So now that we've done this part, we're ready to do the insert. I'm using the Funky 4 stamp set, which is the stamp set that coordinates with the Playdate designer paper that I use to decorate the front of my pocket card. And I'm using my Real Red Stampin' Write marker to color the flower. And then I'm going to use the brush tip of my old Olive Stampin' Write marker to color the stem. Now here I've gone ahead and I've die cut a top note out of Whisper White cardstock using Stampin' Up's top note die. I then stuck it onto a piece of Real Red cardstock and cut around to give myself a slightly bigger mat. So using my Stamp-A-Majig, I'm stamping the flower in the top corner, and then using my Stamp-A-Majig again, I'm going to stamp the greeting "Just for You" just beside the flower. And this "Just for You" greeting comes from Stampin' Up's Hodgepodge Happiness stamp set. And I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. So there you can see this is what the insert now looks like. So you can write your greeting on there, or you can stick on a gift card, and then it simply tucks into your pocket, like so. And your project is now finished. Well, if you enjoyed this video and you enjoy the way I teach and you'd like to learn even more, I invite you to check out the Paper Crafters Library. It's an online video library of paper crafting video tutorials covering everything from card making to scrapbooking, 3D items and altered art, and even a little bit of mixed media. You'll find videos that range from beginner all the way to advanced, and they cover things like knowing your products and how to use them. You'll learn tips and techniques and some fantastic project ideas.